allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you and welcome. Before we get started on the agenda, Commissioner Martinez had a couple things he would like to talk about.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. If some of you guys don't know, ladies and gentlemen don't know, excuse me, it is Police Officers Week. There is actually an enactment that Congress did by John F. Kennedy back in 1962 to honor law enforcement. So we have quite the good people in our neck of the woods, and I think we don't thank them enough. On a national scale, I think we all know what's going on there, and a lot of people trying to defund the people that are actually kind of helping and saving us and keeping us our livelihoods to what they are, where they're always there when we need them, and they're not when we don't, and they just let us live our lives. And I know in talking to some of them, no offense, Sheriff, but one of the best sheriffs I know in California actually is a kid I graduated with, and he's from Helper. He's out there in Riverside giving a little bit of Utah wisdom, and he's making some really good marks. The best sheriff in Utah, obviously, is Sheriff Wood, and him and his staff have been just amazing to work with. And I think we need to say thank you more than we do. There's a lot of times that you do get a thank you, especially when you're taking seniors, not high school seniors, but seniors who are stuck in 9 Mile Canyon and getting them back to Wellington. There's other couple of things that we've been involved with that have been more on a tragic note, and you and your staff have been really good to me and my family and friends. So I think it's good that we notice and recognize our law enforcement, just how important they are to us, and say thank you to you, your staff. That goes for the police force as well in this area. We have a lot of good folks. I know the commission, we've gone through some things to make sure that they are fully funded. We wish we could do more, but we think that there's quite the value of what they bring to this community and making it safe. So just wanted to say thank you to all the law enforcement. Well, yeah, I guess we could, but no, I think we're good.
Okay. Yes, thank you for all you do. We certainly appreciate it. Without further hesitation, we'll move on with the agenda. First thing on the agenda for tonight is the approval of minutes. Commissioners, we have one set of minutes from the May 4th, 2022 meeting. I saw no corrections. Again, thank you. Good job.
Yeah. I have none.
Nor do I. I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from the May 4th meeting.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is approved. Item number 2 on the agenda. This is again one of those happy, good things. We'll turn the time over to Tina for the Super Service Award.
I was worried. I see her and her big crew. So this is the first time we've had an entire crew nominated and voted in to win the award, so this is really exciting. This Super Service Award is being presented to the Taco Time crew. We have Kim Noyes and her staff. And I said, bring as many as you want. So I'll read really quickly. It says, they are always friendly, efficient, and deliver your food in a timely manner. Their staff is very friendly and inviting. I think a lot of people will agree with us in saying that they are definitely, they've been around a long time. My mom used to work at Taco Time when I was like in high school for a small stint. So they're definitely an iconic figure within our community, and we hope that they don't sell too quickly, because I did see that's happening. Or we hope they at least stay at Taco Time, because I know people that have left the area that I personally know that live out of state, and when they come, they can't wait to go to Taco Time because they can't go anywhere else. So just thank you guys so much for offering your great customer service to not only our locals but our visitors, and we appreciate your staff. And so we just want to present you with this award. There's a certificate. I'm hoping that maybe Kim will give you guys like a pizza party or something. I don't know. It's going to be a big party. So our friends with ETV are here. Whoever wants to hold this, you guys want to get together and look over there. She'll take your photo. So you must be like the lead crew guy. And then group there, and then if you want to say anything, you're more than welcome.
Well, thank you for what you guys do. If you've ever been down around taco time around lunchtime, like today, the line extends clear out into the street, so they do a great job. Speaks well for their food. So, item number 3 on the agenda is opening motocross bids and selection of grant contractors. This is just before we open the bids. This is not a time for public comment. We're not going to receive public comment on this. We're just going to open the bids, turn them over for review. And then if there are questions, each contractor that has put in a bid will be contacted individually. So go ahead. Thanks, Seth.
We have the two bids. This one's from Jackson Racing. Says proposal A, 25,000. Gives some instructions here about the frequency of grooming. There's an option of proposal B for 97,500. Says proposal B includes everything in proposal A. In addition, proposal B will include a dozer and tractor suitable to perform the required work. There's a little more to it, but those are the amounts. This bid says it's from Southeast Fencing. The bid amount is $25,525.21.
Okay. Thank you, Seth. Okay, do we have a motion?
I have no questions, comments.
I'll make a motion that we acknowledge the bids, both bids from Jackson Racing and Southeast Fencing, and let Glenn and I review these and award if we deem necessary.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved. Item number 4, Department of Natural Resources, Division of Oil and Gas and Mining, Travis Gray. We'll turn the time over to you.
Okay, I am not Travis Gray, but Travis will be speaking, I promise. If I just plug this in, does this?
Yeah, we can make that show up on the screen.
Have him state his name for the record.
Can you state your name for the record?
Absolutely, yep. I'm Bart Kettle. I'm with the Division of Oil, Gas and Mining. I'm a Deputy Director with the division over the Oil and Gas Program. And we'd hoped to have Director John Baza here for this presentation. He's on his way. We over-allocated ourselves today with the legislative interims, so you get the second assistant's third assistant and me. So hopefully we can survive it and go from there.
Okay.
looks like I'm not getting any input.
Did that act like it detected? Do you want to try this one?
Yeah. And if it doesn't work, we'll just go on.
Good thing we have IT here to save the day.
Do we need to choose the lectern on the evidence?
It should be good.
Okay. Because it's still on Seth's computer.
There we go.
Are you guys okay?
No, we're not. There we go. Thank you. Thanks. Perfect.
Okay. More than anything, what we'd hope to do is introduce the commission to some of our staff that are here in Carbon County and Price, actually located on Carbonville Avenue, and just give a high-level overview of what the Division of Oil, Gas, and Mining does, and then, like I said, introduce you to the staff so you have kind of some people to go and contact should you have questions or that need arise. So just an introduction for myself. As I stated, Bart Kettle, Deputy Director with the Division of Oil, Gas, and Mining. I also am located there at 319 Carbonville Avenue. I've been with the division for 18 years now, all of it here in Price. And we've got 9 people out of that office. That's up several from when I started with the group. Kind of probably as you've seen, the governor has had some initiative to get government in the rural communities when possible. That's something we've taken seriously as a division and have got several positions here in Price and also in Vernal. And from conversation with them, some of the folks in the legislature, I can assure you they're also very serious about some of the rural matters and kind of pushed us a little bit to go this direction as well. So just at a high level, the Division of Oil, Gas, and Mining, there's kind of 6 critical elements that we do. We have an inspection and compliance component. That's the bad guy part of our job. We have a permit review that comes in many forms, thousands of them a year. Then I think one of the overlooked things that the division does is we are sort of the record keeper for all things, well, not all things, but many things mining and oil and gas related. So we're the record keeper for a lot of production information, a lot of files, things like that. And it's one of the big legs of our stool. One of the other things is hazard mitigation, so that being the work we do on abandoned mines and orphan wells. And then, of course, we have the Board of Oil, Gas, and Mining, an adjudicative policy board appointed by the governor. And then we've got an administration component that kind of helps keep us soluble in the finance, the public outreach, and the GIS.
And your boss just showed up, just so you know.
I'll let him come take over.
He may not want to let you off that easy, but
I think I'll be okay if he does, though.
How is he doing?
doing
Great job.
Oh, great. Well, thanks, Bart. I'm John Baza. I'm the director of the Division of Oil, Gas, and Mining, and I'm not sure how much of this you've already gotten through, Bart.
Just one slide.
Okay. Well, he's talking about our critical business processes. It's important for us to let people know what is so important that if we didn't accomplish it, we would fail, okay, as a division. So you can see that the list up there, we came up with 6 separate items. Inspection, applications, and data collection are common to our regulatory programs. And I'll talk in a minute just about what regulatory means. Hazard mitigation is both on our oil and gas side and our mining side, where on the oil and gas side, it's addressing orphan wells, and on the mining side, it's addressing abandoned mine reclamation projects, which are legacy closures of mines that were left behind when statute was initially created. Then we have our Board of Oil, Gas, and Mining. Similar to this commission, except it has 7 members from various aspects of extraction industry and geology and land ownership. These are members who are appointed by the governor and are designed to both adjudicate and create policy relative to the extractive industries in Utah. And then we have our catch-all administration processes, which cross over all the programs in the division. And when I talk about the division programs, we have 4 main ones. The oil and gas program is the oldest. It was established in 1955, and it's designed to address things like waste of the resource or protection of ownership rights for people who have mineral ownership, because oil and gas and petroleum are one of those things where if you drill a well on your property, you can easily drain what's on somebody else's property. So the rules are set up so that people have to accurately account for that oil and gas, have to accurately share the product sales and the revenue with the appropriate parties. And that's what our board is set up to do, is to adjudicate those various matters. Minerals regulatory program is all mining in the state other than coal. And the reason it's other than coal is because we have a separate coal regulatory program, which is federally funded and based on Department of Interior's responsibilities under federal law. So we have a primacy program in the state that has existed since about 1982 that allows the state to regulate coal mining in Utah rather than the federal government. And finally, the abandoned mine reclamation program I mentioned earlier is that hazard mitigation program for abandoned mines. And it's designed so that we close and seal the portals so that the public can't stumble into them or indiscriminately wander into them, but we try to preserve the history of the mine and any structures that relate to that history at a particular mine site. So what does it mean to be regulatory? And I relate it to something I enjoy watching from time to time, which is baseball. And as a kid, it was best to play the game. You wanted to be in the game, catching, throwing, batting, all of that. It's okay to watch as a spectator. Some people think it's boring. I personally don't. But who really cares for the role of the umpires unless they make a bad call, right? So an example I use often is, no one really knows what the infield fly rule or why it matters, unless you're a baseball fan. But beyond the world of rules and regulations and the administration of those rules, we have statistics, and that's a big part of our job too. We're in an age of big data, and all of the time we get questions and queries and requests for information that relate to those statistics that we're tracking in the oil and gas industry. You might recognize the Raiders of the Lost Ark warehouse. We sometimes feel that way because of all the data we do have in our division. We're the repository for the state for all of that data. And in fact, even the federal agencies or school and institutional trust lands will come to us and try to mine our data for information that they're using. Operators are always using our data to try to understand where their next exploration project is going to be. So at this point, I'm going to turn it back to Bart. We're going to do a little tag team today. I've introduced the subject about who the division is and why we do our work, but I'd like each of my deputy directors now to come up and talk about their specific parts of the division. Bart is the deputy director over oil and gas, and Dana Dean, who walked in with me, she is the deputy director over the mining programs. So Bart, I'll give you some time now.
Okay, thank you, Director Baza. So while I'm presenting, I'm going to play this clip. Hopefully it works in the background. This is a resource that can be found on our website, and it just shows some of the impact of the oil and gas industry on the state, where it occurs, and some of the financial impacts it has on the state. So the oil and gas program is located in 3 offices: Salt Lake, Vernal, and here in Price. I'm going to take just a moment and talk about the Price office with all of the staff. So that is the coal program staff and the minerals, as I stated earlier, 9 people. I was doing a little math in my head, which you can never trust, but we represent some 180 years of industry and regulatory experience in those 9 people. What I would say is they're very dedicated staff, and more than anything, as regulators, the thing that I see out of them is they want to get to the right answer. They're not so much retroactive, they're not so much punitive, they want to try to get to the right answer. Yes, we're regulators, so we have to have some punitive nature to us at times, but these are people who are part of the community, who understand the industry really well and want to get the right outcome for the industry. So the oil and gas program as a whole, as John said, we have a lot of data. We maintain the well record for some 25,000 wells. That includes everything that's submitted as far as the application process, the drilling process, and all of the production data for those wells. Depending on the year, we process somewhere between 7,000 and 10,000 permit actions. This year it's trending up, and we complete somewhere around 7,000 inspections. We're on course for quite a few more than that this year. And then one of the really critical functions that Director Baza touched on briefly is what we do with orphan wells. And I think it's really important to understand Utah has 29 orphan wells in the state. To put that into context, the high states in the nation have somewhere over 10,000 orphan wells. So we're one of the lowest states for orphan wells. And it's really not an accident. That's some 3 decades of purposeful decision-making by the division and by industry to get to that. We have a 2-pronged approach. We manage our idle wells very closely. So idle wells are wells that are not actively being used for oil and gas production. We've got some requirements on what operators need to do with those. And you have to fundamentally understand today's idle well is tomorrow's orphan well. So by being proactive on the idle wells, we're essentially preventing future orphan wells. And then when we get orphan wells, because it does inevitably happen, we have a very active orphan program where we plug those wells. In fact, just this last year, we plugged 15 wells just here locally in Carbon and Emery counties. Not wanting to let me, there we go. Normally I talk about oil production when I give this presentation, but just for reference, 4 counties in the state represent 97% of the oil production. Carbon County is in that 3% of the total oil production, so it's not a significant accumulation. However, natural gas production, Carbon County is fairly significant. As you can see, it's 3rd. In the state. And natural gas production over the last 10 years has been on a really steady decline. The last year, we've actually kind of seen it flatten out, and that's an interesting trend. We kind of hope that that continues. We'll see, but we've been on a really steady 12 to 15% decline for quite some time now, until just the last year we sort of seen it flatten out a little bit. When we look at Carbon County's natural gas production, I included a little more data in this because it's kind of interesting. When compared to a lot of the other counties, where you have a peak in the early 2000s, probably with the coal bed methane production, and then of course the 2008 Great Recession era is when gas prices really tanked, and we kind of peaked then, but then also later with probably some of the activity that's in the northeastern part of the county, you kind of level out there in 2011, 2012, whereas most areas just continually decline. The county is seeing a pretty steady decline in gas production. After that, we see it flattening out a little bit the last year. We don't know what the future is, obviously. What I can tell you is last time I counted, which was Monday, we had 29 applications for permit to drill that were in counties other than Duchesne and Uena County. That doesn't sound like a lot, but that's fairly significant when you consider we've only have a handful of wells, some years as low as 0. And really never more than just 4 or 5 wells spudded in all the other counties in the state. So 29 applications in counties outside of Duchesne and Uena County is a significant uptick. We'll see what the future holds there. And at that, I guess I'll turn it over to Dana Dean.
Thank you, Bart. Thank you, commissioners, for the time. I'm just going to talk really quickly about things that affect Carbon County. The Horizon Mine reclamation, this mine went out of business, I'm going to say around 2009. I don't remember exactly. But our coal program came in, and with the bond money that we were able to get from the company, we completed reclamation of the site, and we did some really innovative things. And you can see that the top picture up there is what this site looked like when it shut down. There were portals there, and there was a lot of equipment on site. The bottom is what it looked like last fall with some good vegetation. You can see that channel there is to direct water that it run off down into the stream so that it doesn't erode the reclamation that we did. The other thing I wanted to mention is not in Carbon County, but you probably heard about the terrible flash flood last year that happened at the Bear Canyon mine in your neighboring county. Unfortunately, people were injured and at least one life was lost there. That flash flood also impacted all of their drainage channels. It ruined everything that they had, the way that they handle water. So we worked very closely with MSHA and the mine to get them back in operation as quickly as possible, make sure that things were safe, that the water was directed away from the mine openings. The water did not go into the mine. Unfortunately, what happened was the flash flood went through the site just as there was a shift change, and people were in manned cars on the surface and were carried away. But anyways, we've been working with them to stabilize things and get them back. We got them back operating as quickly as possible. Our abandoned mine program has been working a lot over the past year to quench some coal fires that were ignited by the Bear wildfire. That's something you probably never thought about. Most of these were historic coal piles that were just left from historic mining. We never thought that they were something that needed reclaimed because they weren't affecting the environment in any way. Nobody predicted a wildfire would catch them on fire. We're still working on some of those. There was also a coal seam that caught on fire, and we were able to put that out. And we worked really extensively with the BLM on those projects, and we were able to control those. And there's more work to be done that we're continuing this summer. We're also designing a diversion and 6-mile water line in Whitmore Canyon to mitigate some lost stream water due to the old Sunnyside mine. And we hope to begin construction on that in 2023. There are no active mineral mines in Carbon County, which seems odd to me, non-coal minerals. But we do have minerals throughout the state, and recently we've added a staff member here in Price, so that he can cover some areas of the state without driving as much as we do from Salt Lake City. So it's nice to have someone who's been working down here in the coal industry, knows the mining business, and can cover some areas of the state that are harder to get to. And I believe that brings us to the staff and the main reason that we wanted to be here today.
So what we're going to do now is just introduce you to a few of our newer staff members in the Division of Oil, Gas, and Mining, who are all based here in Price. And we asked them to introduce themselves so that you could get to know a little bit about who they are.
So I'm Travis Gray. I love to talk, but I hate to talk about myself. That's the hardest thing, I think, out of all of them. But our message is really important, and I am glad to be here in front of you commissioners and the public to explain that our roots are here. The state of Utah represented by people of Carbon County. And so it's just real important that we're right here locally, obviously. So I was born and raised here, 41 years, been here my whole life. I worked in the industry, natural gas mostly, right here at ConocoPhillips. Had about 18 years out there, had a long run on workover rigs, worked on a lot of wells, a lot of private property wells and people that we know. And I was able to go from there and then transition into the regulatory side of it. So that's been the best thing. I was able to take that 18 years of experience and hang on to it in a new role instead of shifting into something new. So I was excited to be able to stay in the same industry. A little bit of my community involvement, I'm really proud of it. I'm really passionate about it. As you can see, part of the Carbon County ambulance team, it's an amazing team of people. Those guys that I work with there, just like with the Division of Oil and Gas and Mining, I don't want to work with a team unless they're the best. And so these guys are, the ambulance staff's amazing. So kind of ties back into the fact that our roots are right here. Broadcasting Carbon High Sports, I think we're all passionate about that. I've jumped on board with that. I smile about that one. It's exciting. That's some of my favorite things to do, is travel around the state and bring Carbon High Sports to those that can't make it to the games. So jumped on with a radio group, and it's the same thing. I don't want to work with a team of people unless they're the best, and those guys at the radio industry are just awesome. So I enjoy bringing you the sports. Along with that, on the weekends, somewhere I squeeze in in Carbon County, going out to Desert Thunder Raceway. I do all the announcing out there, and that's on a national level. It's broadcast on IMCA TV, and Carbon County's got a voice that goes across nationwide. So it's something else that I'm proud of. But to go back to the oil, gas, and mining, I just am excited, like I touched on earlier, to bring the expertise, to have seen it hands-on rather than somebody regulating it that really doesn't know much about it, or just, no better way of putting it, that learned from a book. I didn't learn from a book. I learned because it was my livelihood. So I'm just proud to represent the people and protect landowners, protect the land, protect what's here, and keep it going. It's a valuable asset, and we all know that. So I'll kind of leave you with that, but I really want to emphasize that the state of Utah is represented in price, and you guys have access to that right here. So our numbers, we put our emails on there, and I know some of you, but please, when there's oil, gas, and mining concerns, know that we're right here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi guys, my name is Karen Madsen. I was also born and raised right here in Carbon County, and I am a field inspector for the coal division. I come from a long line of coal mining background. As you can tell from the pictures, my great-great-grandpa mined coal in Germany before he immigrated here, and then mined coal when he got here. My great-grandpa mined coal for about 30 years at these local mines here. He was the superintendent at the Sunnyside mine, as well as an inspector for the Bureau of Mines, which was pre-MSHA. After my grandpa got home from the war, he also mined coal until the 60s, and then him and his dad bought Carbon Transfer up in Helper, and they were a mine supply store. My dad worked there until he started his career for Pacific Corp and worked in the power plants until he retired just recently. So our family's been here a while. I began working at the mines 9 years ago. I was a mine monitor for the underground guys until I moved into an environmental role on the surface. At my time there, I was the lead environmental person over 4 mines, focusing mainly on permitting, reclamation, and environmental compliance. While I was working there, I went to school to get my degree in environmental science. And I'm also a certified mine surface foreman through the Utah State Labor Commission. Recently, I decided to take my experience from those coal mines and moved over to the regulatory work here with the division, and I love it. Outside of work around the county, I do a lot of recreation, ATV, camping, geocaching. And I also help out with the Job's Daughters here locally. They're a youth group associated with the Masonic organizations. They do a lot for leadership, public speaking, and charity. I also am on a human rights committee for a company that assists local individuals with physical and intellectual disabilities. And I'm also on the board of directors for the Castle Valley Community Theater, which we're hoping to get more active this year. We kind of had a little hiatus there. My life has been surrounded by coal, and it always will be. Growing up here in Carbon County, it's just in our veins. I'm proud that I can use the knowledge and experience that I've gained in the coal industry and bring that experience to the division and be able to do that while staying here in Carbon County. We as regulators, we care about our industries and we care about our environment too. We want to see our industries succeed while protecting this environment that we live in. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hello to commissioners and to all attendees. I am honored to be speaking with you today. My name is Philip Jensen. Most people know me by my initials, PJ Jensen. I recently joined the Division of Oil, Gas, and Mining in their minerals program. I am based out of the local price office, and I will be working with mine operations throughout southeastern Utah to, except for the coal, of course, to help the operators obtain the raw materials that we need for our society and to maintain the responsible stewardship of our environment. Prior to joining the division, as I have just recently, as of last week actually, I have 17 years of experience in the mining industry. For the last 15 years, a little over 15 years, I worked in local coal mines in the engineering department, working with the division in the permitting issues for 4 separate mines. And I worked my way up from doing drafting and design work to the permit manager and the resident agent for the division with the coal mining group. Throughout the time I've been working with the division, I've learned a great deal about how important it is to understand how the mining industry works, both coal and mineral, and how we need to make sure that the operators are able to do their jobs while still maintaining the rules and regulations so that we can protect our resources. Prior to working at the coal mines, I worked for 2 years with an environmental consulting firm out of Helper, supporting several mining operations, including coal and other exploration projects. Prior to that, I worked in the architectural, structural, and civil engineering fields. I've lived most of my life here in Carbon County. I grew up in Helper. I graduated from Carbon High School from the College of Eastern Utah, which is now USU Eastern. I married my high school sweetheart in Helper. I had to move away for a little while to get more schooling and get some more experience, but I returned to Helper as quickly as I possibly could because I love this area. I owned my own drafting firm for a time. I also worked as an adjunct instructor for the College of Eastern Utah. And then that's when I started working for the environmental consultation firm. And now I've joined the division because I wanted to express my experience and help others to grow in their operations as well. So a new chapter of my life begins as I've joined the division here. Multiple generations of my family have lived in Carbon County. I am a 5th generation Jensen, and 4 generations of my mother's side have lived here in Carbon County. My grandfather and uncle worked in the coal industry. My wife's grandfather, father, and mother all worked in the coal industry. And her grandfather worked in the railroad. So we have deep roots with all of the major industries in Carbon County. My community involvement has been limited over the last few years because I've been working so hard with the mines. But I do work with and support local nonprofit organizations as much as I possibly can to promote local tourism and economic growth for the area. I have served in local government. I've served on the Helper City Council and with the Helper City Planning and Zoning Committee. And I'm hoping in the near future I can begin to serve this county and its people more. I truly feel very fortunate and blessed to be able to work and live where I call home. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So thank you to Travis, Karen, and PJ. I think you see that we've got some great people working for us, and we're very fortunate to have attracted them to work in public service. They are going to add tremendously to our presence in this part of the state, as well as our ability to interact with the local community. We also have a Vernal office, and similarly we have folks working for the division in Vernal, and I encourage you, if you just want to happen to drop by our Price office or our Vernal office and you're in those towns, please feel free to swing by and talk to any of these individuals. Our contact information for myself and Dana and Bart are right there. Dana and I both work out of the Salt Lake DNR office. Bart is actually based here in Price, which is an unusual thing to have a division deputy director located in one of our rural communities. So we're really excited about that, and it makes perfect sense because it's these areas where the extractive industry is doing its work. So we're glad to have these folks on board. And let me just close by saying thank you for the opportunity to present to you today. I know we've probably overextended our time, but feel free to reach out, ask any questions. I'll answer any questions you might have at this point. So thank you, commissioners.
Thank you. Do we have any questions?
No questions. Thanks for what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, no questions. I was hoping you were going to let us know there was like 5 new coal mines. They're going to announce that they're going to open, but I know that's not the case. But
We can always cross our fingers.
Exactly. No, but thank you for you and your staff. I've had interactions with your staff. They're always professional and prompt and appreciate the service they provide. So thank you all.
Thank you.
And I wanted to say thanks for allowing some of your professionals to work in our local rural communities. It's a big deal to have professionals that receive a good wage in our rural communities. It's a big deal to have not only homegrowns, but have those people here. And what's added is that they are homegrown, that they are our people, and they have a love for this community, so they treat it that way. So thank you. Item number 5 on the agenda, and Justin, I think he's being a little bit of an overachiever because he's going to take the stage for a little while. Item number 5, consideration of possible approval to apply for the State Homeland Security Program Grant, or the SHSP grant.
It just happens to be grant season for us. It's that time of year. The fiscal year is coming up, and so that's when a lot of our grants are due, so we just need to address them now. The first one is the SHSP, State Homeland Security Project Grant. This is a regional grant, so it's between Carbon and Emery County. The whole grant itself is $257,543.02. Of that, Carbon County is asking for $133,456.52. That money goes to support a lot of different things. It supports our hazmat team, the EOC officers. It does a lot of work with cybersecurity. It helps us promote our emergency management department and provide some needed supplies for the sheriff's office as well. So it covers quite a few things in that grant. It's a 100% grant. There's no match to it. So it's just, that's what it is. Any questions?
Questions?
Questions.
I have no questions. I'll make a motion that we approve the State Homeland Security Program Grant application.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item number 6, review and possible approval to apply for the fiscal year 2023 Rural Competitive Grant.
So this is for Carbon County Ambulance. And if I might take just a second, besides this, it is also EMS week. So thank you to those EMTs. We have several here with us tonight. They do serve our community at all hours of the day, and we'd like to recognize them. For the ambulance grant, it is also a 100% grant. This is from the State of Utah Bureau of EMS. I am going after $213,650. Of that, a portion will be used for a new ambulance. A portion will be used for the wage increase that we have given our employees and continue that for the next year, and then some needed equipment to help save our employees' backs in the event of, or they're called stair chairs, is what we're asking for.
Any questions?
I have no questions.
All right, I'll make the motion that we approve to apply for that fiscal year 2023 Rural Grant Competitive Grant.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And item number 7, recognize a resource donation from the Southeast Utah Health Preparedness Coalition to Carbon County Ambulance to help facilitate patient care.
So we've been involved in the Regional Healthcare Coalition that Chet's over, and we wanted to tell them thank you. So they asked us if there was any needs, and one of the things that I've been trying to do is get the ambulance to go paperless. We've been duplicating efforts, writing reports, and then putting them into a system. We did not have funding for that, and so I brought that to the coalition. The coalition was able to provide us with 5 iPads to put in each of our ambulances to improve patient care, improve billing, and make a lot of the things we do a seamless process. So I wanted to say thank you to Chet and the program for helping us improve the service that we do to the community.
Well, thank you.
Would you like to say anything?
So just Carbon County Ambulance is a huge player in the coalition. Our coalition consists of Carbon, Emery Grande, and San Juan County. All of our EMS agencies are big players, but Carbon's a huge player. They're very active in our meetings. They're great to put input in and to help with any questions that we have or anything we can support. So we were happy to do it and happy to be able to support the ambulance service. So thank you guys.
Well, thank you for the donation. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chet.
And Chet's also one of the EMTs for Carbon County Ambulance, so thank you.
With full disclosure.
He didn't want to duplicate his processes either. Okay.
Last one, I promise.
We don't need a motion on that, right?
No. Item number 8, ratification of the state asset forfeiture competitive grant application fiscal year 2023. Justin.
So this grant is for the Sheriff's Office. We are asking for $12,200. This will go for body-worn cameras for our officers and also one in-car camera system as well for a vehicle that's, I think, on its way.
No questions?
I have no questions either. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we ratify the state asset forfeiture competitive grant application for fiscal year 2023.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks,
Justin. Item number 9, review and possible approval of tourism contract with Hub LLC for ad and marketing services. Tina.
We're going to come together.
And Shani.
Shannon's going to join me today. So, Commissioners, you've received the agreement that you could review before the meeting. I don't know if there's any extra questions, but this is just to extend our services with Hub Collective, who is our marketing and ad agency out of Portland, Oregon. So just a 1-year contract to continue our efforts. It's retainer-based, and the goal is to provide a deliverable and flexible schedule to accommodate the shifting tourism needs, initiative, and opportunities within the county.
Any questions?
I think just an explanation of this too, that a lot of the money that is used for this type of marketing advertising comes from tourism dollars. And so it helps to promote, to keep that coming back. It basically funds itself, and it helps advertise the county in whole, not just tourism, not just economic development, pretty much anything that we want to draw attention to, so to speak.
Right.
So I think it's a great thing. And they've been successful with the whole Carbon Corridor, the circuit that we've had out at the fairgrounds as well. So I think they've been very helpful.
And I think it would also be important to note that all of this advertising, or all of the information that, or the content that is created, is for marketing on the Wasatch Front and surrounding areas, surrounding states, and we've seen tourism grow year over year. Even with the pandemic and different things, we've continued to increase the money coming in to our TRT and TRCC funding.
Right, and I think it's important too to say, and for the public to hear, that marketing tourism has really just taken a different role, not for just our county, but many of our counties throughout the state, and that it's not just putting heads in beds, but it's creating marketing that's sustainable. And so where we're growing tourism, not so quickly, but that we're doing it in a responsible way. Hub has been fantastic. They join all of our webinars with the state. They stay up on all of the Forever Mighty principles, and they're very much supportive of spreading the message of responsible recreation in our communities. And so, yeah, they do a great job. The one thing that we did ask to be added this year, and to help with now that we've built the brand. So we rebranded 3 years ago, and the plan was to, build our brand recognition and start those marketing plans that people start to recognize. And so now they'll be assisting us with public relations and media buys, so not just in the Wasatch Front, but they're going to be helping us engaging local and regional media outlets to facilitate the promotion of events, campaigns, and general awareness. And they'll work with us to create a media buy plan that focuses on our target markets that have been identified in our destination development plan, which they're very familiar with. They have a copy, everyone has a copy that sits on their desk, and so they know what our blueprint is, and they're very supportive in that. But they're going to help us tailor those messages. So whether we're going to advertise in Canada or Maine on the East Coast, they're going to be very much a part of that. And they also attended a call today to go over some data analysis, and so they're going to be very much working side by side with us to collect that data and to see where we need to shift in our marketing efforts. So.
Thank you. Any questions on that?
No questions. I'll make the motion that we approve the tourism contract with Hub LLC for ad and marketing services.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank
I would have
you.
cried if you said no. No one wants to see me cry.
Item number 10, convene as the Municipal Building Authority of Carbon County.
I'll make a motion that we convene as the Municipal Building Authority of Carbon County.
Second that.
Okay. We are now the Municipal Building Authority of Carbon County. I guess this probably should have been written just a little bit differently. It says item 11 on this agenda, but it should be item number 1 for, or are we okay? Item 1 for the Municipal Building Authority.
Technically, it's item 1 for the Municipal Building Authority, but I think it's okay the way it's written here as well.
Perfect. Okay. Consideration and possible approval and acceptance of a special warranty deed transferring Southeastern Utah Health Department old Health Department building to the Municipal Building Authority of Carbon County. Commissioner Jensen, do you want to explain this a little bit?
Sure. Over a year ago, the Southeastern Utah Health Department was bursting at the seams in their old building, and they were in need of a new facility. They looked at building a new facility, and as the costs come in for that, we chose to look at a second option, which would be to have Carbon County's old district court building be remodeled, as well as the building just west of it, which was occupied by our old planning and zoning department. Combination of those two buildings, the goal was to remodel those, and when the remodel was complete, for us to trade buildings with them. So the county would give them the old district court building and the old planning and zoning building, and that we would occupy then their old building. So the remodel of the two buildings is complete. They've moved in, and now the transfer of ownership of their old building needs to take place. And so this would facilitate a deed that would put the property in the name of Carbon County Municipal Building Authority.
Thank you. Any questions?
I have no questions.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll go ahead and make a motion then that we approve the acceptance of the special warranty deed transferring Southeastern Utah Health Department's old health department building to the Municipal Building Authority of Carbon County.
I might just add one more thing. I think next Tuesday we have board meeting for the Southeastern Utah Health Department down in Green River, where people from Moab as well as Emery County all get together, the board of directors, and in that meeting they will authorize the other half of it on their part to transfer it to us. So I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved. Item number 12, reconvene as the Carbon County Board of Commissioners.
I'll make the motion that we reconvene as a Carbon County Board of Commissioners.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are now the Board of Commissioners. Item number 13, possible sale of Schofield water shares to Price River Water Improvement District for new home water hookups. Commissioner Jensen, you've been the one that's working most on this. Do you want to explain what's going on here?
Yeah, so the growth that we've seen happen over the last 2 years, we've kind of reached a point where if someone wants to build a home outside of one of the cities, Helper, Price, Wellington, or East Carbon, the ability to hook onto the water system rests with someone going to the Price River Water Improvement District and turning a share of Schofield Reservoir water over to the Price River Water Improvement District so that they can get a hookup. The price of those shares of water have continued to go up and up and up, and we've reached a point now where it's very difficult for anyone to purchase a share of water for a water hookup for a home. We have developers who they're in different stages of approvals for subdivisions that have expressed the dire need of they can't find water shares. And in order for their subdivisions to move forward, there would have to be some water shares made available. So Carbon County owns 434 or 37 shares of Schofield Reservoir water. We use some of those at the fairgrounds. Some of those are attached to the Gelati Pond in Helper. There's some that help feed water into the fish pond at the fairgrounds, as well as water all of the facilities at the fairgrounds. And we also have the need for the back 9 of the golf course, which is owned by the Recreation Transportation Special Service District, to water the back 9 of the golf course that we have some obligations to. So as we've weighed and looked really close at the water shares the county owns, the amount of water that we physically use is way short of the water we own. So in an attempt to try to put in place a short-term plan of allowing people to be able to come up with a water share to build a home, we've felt like we could offer 50 of the 437 shares that we own and have those available to Price River Water Improvement District for new home hookups. I might mention it's raised quite a storm in the community as the word's gone out. There are a lot of people who would like to buy water shares, and so publicly it's our intent that those water shares would not be able to be purchased for anything except a new home. So Price River Water Improvement District in the past years, for a long time, has had a program where if you couldn't find a water share, you could actually pay them for a water share and they would get you your hookup. But they're at a point where they don't dare do that any longer with the water shares that they currently own. In a drought setting like we're kind of facing, there's obligations to all of the people who already are hooked onto the water system to make sure they're not shorted. So that's, in a nutshell, I think what the dilemma is. We feel very strongly that there may not be another option to help solve this problem other than to engage in something we really don't want to. And there are a lot of people who are pretty upset that we would even think of selling water that we own, but we feel it's important for the growth that needs to occur here. People are wanting to build.
Yeah, and if I could expand on that too, we do have a lot of people trying to develop and move here, and we've had business owners come in and tell us that their employees are living out of hotels, living in basements out of other employees because they can't find a house to live in. There's friends that I know that are living with their parents and helper in their basement because they can't find homes. So housing is a big issue here, and the growth is coming. The report that the Planning and Zoning put out too, a lot of the homes in 2021 were in the county areas, not in the city areas. So a lot of the housing is in the outsides of the cities. It's where the people are coming from all over the place. I mean, California, Salt Lake, wherever it is, and they want to get out of the mess. They want to get at a little bit of elbow room and kind of expand. So my opinion personally, there's a lot of folks that are holding on to water. They probably don't need all of it. They would justify it a different way and say that, yeah, they need every share they can get. And that's kind of what the county's doing too. We've held on to shares for a long time, and we've needed some. There's potential growth that we could have out at the fairgrounds, whether that be another softball clover, more soccer fields, don't know. But we feel that we have an adequate amount of shares that we need to start, not criticizing others, but do what we need to do to help this area grow. A lot of land is being purchased by outside people, and that's from Schofield, Helper, all the way up to East Carbon. So the growth is coming here. We don't want to be the ones that are stifling it. So I've joked with a lot of people that we could talk Utah versus BYU, we could talk religion and all that, but boy, we cannot talk water. Those are fighting words. And I know it gets a lot of folks aggravated, but we're trying to do the right thing, and I believe this is the right thing.
I think the only thing that I can add is that these water shares would be used in service areas for Pry-wide. Pry City has their own program. They have their own water treatment. It doesn't go into their system. And they have whatever shares, they have their own program for helping people build in Pry City. These would be for unincorporated parts of the county and or cities that Pry-wide, Price River Water Improvement District services. So.
Yeah, so right currently, Wellington City does not have water system of their own, and they purchase water from Price River Water Improvement District. So if you were to build a home in Wellington, you would be required to turn over a share of reservoir water in Wellington. You want a motion?
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion that we offer, we don't have a number here, but I would move that we offer 50 shares of Schofield Reservoir water to Price River Water Improvement District, specifically for new home water hookups.
And I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved. Item number 14, continued property tax exemption request for American Legion. Seth, do you want to explain what's going on here?
Yeah, just hopefully quickly. a number of commission meetings ago, we approved our list of continued property tax exemption parcels that qualify for a tax exemption. The American Legion was on that list, and there's some questions from the American Legion about what that covered. And after doing some research, we found out that though they're on the list, they have received for many years a 50% exemption on their property taxes. From what we can tell in the past, that was because they rented out a portion of their building. And so the way that the application was filled out previously, they just filled out for half of that, or we had approved them for half of an exemption because of that rent. After talking to the American Legion, we found out that the rent that they receive just goes back into the building maintenance and expenses there, so there's no profit. So they've requested that we grant them a 100% exemption as opposed to the 50 that we've done for a number of years. I don't see any issues with that, but thought we'd bring it to the commission.
I appreciate the VFW, the folks that have always
American Legion.
or excuse me, American Legion. The people have been in the military. Personally, haven't done it. I have some friends that they call them chief and that, and it's pretty amazing to me what they've done and with their careers. And I think the American Legion post here is a good thing. We need to support it. I don't know the exact tax dollar amount that we're talking about. Do you by chance have that, their annual number?
Yeah, I think 50% came to like $2,300 or $2,400. So that's what you would be granting here is $2,300 or $2,400 exemption.
Yeah, so
with it.
Yeah.
Do we need an address or a parcel number in the minutes?
We have a parcel number. I don't have it right now.
We can add it in.
We can add it in. Yeah, I mean, it's when we approved the list had the American Legion and the parcel on it. So you'd essentially, we've already approved it, but this would just approve the same parcel for 100% exemption instead of the 50 that we already approved.
So this building would be on First West and
27 North, First West.
Okay, so for the public, that's the building. I'll make the motion that we grant the 100% tax exemption for that.
And I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved. I'll entertain one more.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
We are adjourned. Thank you. What's that?
One public comment?
Oh, yes. Before we adjourn, we did have an announcement that the American Legion, if you can come to the mic and state your name.
Hello, my name's David Jellin. I'm the commander of the American Legion Post. Thank you for the grant for that. Appreciate it. We'll turn that right back into the community. One of the things that we're doing is trying to get scholarships and grants into the schools. This would definitely help that through Boys State and the scouting programs and oratorical contests for students from junior high through high school. The last oratorical contest, the first prize national winner was $25,000. State is $5,000, and that would help us do that if we could find students that were interested. I wanted to chime on Law Enforcement Week, EMS Week. It's also since 1950 U.S. Armed Forces Week, which culminates with U.S. Armed Forces Day, recognizing all active members of the U.S. Armed Forces on the 21st of May this year. My main point in bringing up today to approach is to ask the public to help with placing flags on graves of U.S. veterans of U.S. Armed Forces, specifically those who died in combat or died in service or since their service. We'll be doing flags in the cemeteries on Thursday, May 26th at Helper Mountain View, Willow Creek, Spring Glen, the Sylvanian, East Carbon, and Sunnyside cemeteries. On Friday, we'll be at Elgin, Green River, and Woodside cemeteries. And Saturday, May 28th, we'll be doing the old and new Price City Cemetery and Cliffview cemeteries. Wellington cemeteries have been done by Wilder family since 1935, and Schofield and Carbonville cemeteries have been decorated by the League family. Memorial Day services, I noticed on the way in, you guys were closed on Monday the 30th, so there's no reason why you can't come, is we are doing ceremonial services. We are doing 6 services in 5 cities spanning 95 miles on May 30th, starting at 8:30 at Helper Mountain View Cemetery, 9:30 at Price City Cemetery, 10 a.m. at Price Cliffview Cemetery, 11 a.m. at Wellington City Cemetery, 12 p.m. at East Carbon and Sunnyside Cemeteries, and 1:30 p.m. at Green River Cemetery. So if you have a time and you have a 3-day weekend, come on out and listen to a little bit of history and recognize those who served and have preceded us. Thank you for your time, and again, thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Any questions?
And is there a number if they want to help decorate?
They can go to our website, which is AmericanLegionPost3.org, or they can call the post at 435-630-8474 for any questions and answers. And flags will start at 8 a.m. on those days in those locations.
Perfect, thank you.
And last year we put out just under 3,000 flags in the area.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We had a motion, and now we are adjourned. Thank you.